Hey everyone, just thought I would do a quick video. I did some videos a week or two ago, and I basically just kind of talked about how I put some rock lights on the boat, and how I put a stereo in. This Nitro Z20, it's a 2020. There's a little bit of differences between that one and the newer ones, but it went pretty well. A lot of learning along the way, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this. And I'm sorry I didn't do this prior, but I didn't realize at the time that so many people would be asking about it. But anyway, I don't know, it's probably 10, 15, maybe even 20 people have hit me up and asked questions here or there. So I just thought I'd try to put something together real quick and so you guys can hopefully do it yourself. But it turned out really well. I've already been out on the lake with it several times. Everything's working good. So anyway, I'm gonna just kind of show you how I did it as best I can. So anyway, any questions, you guys feel free to hit me up later, or IM me or whatever. So anyway, cool. All right, thank you. All right, so the first thing I got was these. I got this off Amazon. It came in a kit with speakers. I've seen everybody getting the Boss, B-O-S-S, but I just figured for an extra $100 or whatever, I'd go ahead and just get the kickers since I'm familiar with those. But the speakers actually came with it in a kit, and it was about $320 or so. But the speakers also lit up, so just if that's what you want, be sure you look for those. The next thing I got was the rock lights, and these are the I don't know if you can see that, the Li 8. There were 6 of them in here. Originally I was just going to do 6, but as I got going I realized I wanted to do more, so I got actually bought 2 of those, and I got 2 left that I'm going to put on my trailer. So anyway, Li 8, and they came in packs of 6. If you can get a pack of 10 or whatever you need, I'd definitely do that instead of buying 2 of them. The next thing that I used was these little connectors here. These connectors work pretty good, and I'll kind of show you what I did with those. But if you look, I got 2 different packs. One came with 4 connectors in it, and I'll show you why that was important for me. And then I got these other ones, and these were 3s, and these I used on the back. But anyway, but they definitely made things pretty a lot more. It was just easier. I ended up going through quite a bit of wire, probably 75. This is probably what's left of 75 foot right here. And it's 1622 gauge wire. Same for the negative. So anyway, about 75 foot, 1622. And then this right here actually came with the kicker speakers. It's high quality speaker wire, but it's pretty good stuff. So, but anyway, this right here, if you don't have one of these, I definitely order one on Amazon. They're cheap on Amazon. You get one probably $15-20, but this made all the difference in the world right here. It's fish tape. And kind of what I always like to do is I always tape it, and then I just push that wire through that little hole. I'm sure these electricians on here can tell you how to do it better, but this right here made things so much easier. 3-inch hole saw for the stereo, actually, to mount the stereo. And then this was a 5 1/4. This is what I used to mount the speakers. So this is the holes that I put in, a 3-inch and 5 1/4. I do got to admit that when I went to use this, I did have to grind just a tad bit with my Dremel tool. So, but it opened right up. So These screws, these self-drilling tappers were what I used for the lights. Obviously, a lot of electrical tape, and then your driver, because you're going to take out, as I'll show you here in a little bit, you're going to take out the little, like some of these little cup holders and the little compartment in the front. This just made it a lot easier. And then finally, you're gonna need probably a couple of these by the time you're done. So it does get a little frustrating, but hopefully this video will help you, because I've done it. I've went through all the frustrating parts, and I'm gonna make sure that I let you know about it. But anyway, that's it for the parts. All right, guys, just a couple more things I forgot to add after watching the video. I just want to make sure I include, because like I said, I was going to try to get a list of everything that I used. So first thing that I forgot to talk about was the silicone, the clear silicone that I used behind the lights and in the hole where I drilled, just to try to seal things up, make it a little bit more watertight. So clear silicone. Next thing I forgot to talk about was the wire nuts. I use these little silver ones. So every time I tied up a wire to one of the lights, I use these little wire nuts right here, and then of course I taped it up. And then this right here was what I used for the power. These little blue ones. Just put your wire in and slid right in where I hooked up the power. And then the last thing was the cable ties. So just having multiple sizes worked well, because sometimes you get away with small ones, other times you need the medium ones, and then there's a few times where I needed it just was a lot easier just to have the long ones. So you're constantly not just reaching up there and trying to do it with one hand. But multiple sizes. All right, that's it. So I ended up putting 10 lights on my boat. And here's kind of the how they look. There's some rubber pieces that came with them, some rubber mounts. I had talked to a few people, and they said you could mount it without them. I kind of like the more close. I just love the kind of how it just kind of was closer inward, because if they were sticking out too far, I'd end up kicking them or doing something dumb. So I didn't choose to mount those. And again, I talked to some people that said you didn't need to, so I didn't. But I got them. I measured them, out. And one thing I would definitely do is get under there and look and make sure where you decide you want to mount it. Lift up your compartment, look in there, because sometimes Nitros put these little fiberglass supports in there, and right where I had went to put one, there was a fiberglass support there, and I didn't check it ahead of time, and I had to kind of cut into that fiberglass support. And it all is like fiberglass tape. It's not an actual support. It's basically just holding the wires up. But anyway, if you get in your compartment and look in here prior to doing any drilling, it'll definitely make your life easier. And this is kind of something that I made a mistake on the first one. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There are also wires that run along this side right here. Make sure that you do not drill into your wires that are tucked in here, right? So again, all the more reason to make sure that you're getting in here through your compartment and just looking in there. There's tons of room in there. It's really easy to do. Just once, take a piece of tape where you want to mark it. Put a piece of tape right here. That way, when you get in here and you're looking to see if you got any sort of blockage or anything like that, you'll know exactly where you put that tape, and it'll just help you. Okay, now because I've got 3 lights right here, 1, 2, 3, you're gonna need to run them in a, tell you not to run a series circuit. I didn't. I chose to run mine in a parallel. This is where these things come in handy right here. These four, and I'll tell you why. Because what I did was I basically took your red and your black, and I pre-prepped the wires to run to them. So obviously, you know, you're going to run a short one here, a little bit longer one there, and then a longer one all the way down to the end. What you'll do is you'll take those and you'll plug them into each one of those holes. And then if you notice, you're going to have a fourth hole open, and that's going to be for your power wire when we run that. So right now, just when you're running these, red and black, you're going to need two of these, right? One for your red and one for your black, but you're going to basically run everything into this, and this will sit, like for me, mine's sitting right here. So when the power wire comes through, it's connecting right here, and then there's wire that goes to this one, and then another one that comes all the way down here and goes to this one. So, but the main connection is right here. Okay, again, it's pretty easy to get in right here. Tons of room in your compartments. You might just have to clean them out like I did, but I mean, you can literally lay in there and do everything. These things are pretty nice. Just clear a little, just a small amount of wire, and then you just shove it in there. Those things will seat in there all nice and tight and snug. Just give it a little tug, make sure it's good. But again, 3 wires, so I used the the 4 because that one that's empty, I ran the power wire to, and I did that for positive, and then I also did it a separate one for my negative. So these lights have about probably maybe a foot of wire on them, and it tends to be right by where the screw's at. So when I drilled this hole basically just right off to the side of the screw. That's where the wire comes out of the back of the light. Just pulled it through, and then I ran those 2 screws in, but drilled a little hole for it's probably like an 1/8-inch drill bit. It was small. Just ran that one, and then pulled the wire through right where it came out of the back of the light, just so it didn't cause any issues pushing up on this at all. But it basically went straight in, pretty easy. Went underneath the compartment, reached up here and pulled the wires out a little bit so I could have a little space to work with. Again, if you want to, if you go through and do all the homework that I told you to do, make sure you don't have anything blocking your way. You're going to have a lot easier time than what I did, right? Because I made sure I didn't have anything up here, but I didn't look to see if there's any that little fiberglass tape that supports all the wires that are in here. That's all that was. And there's one that I literally stuck it right smack dab in the middle of it. So I'm trying to save you guys the headaches of that. All right, I know I'm getting out of order just a little bit, but I'm kind of making my way back. So when I went to mount the stereo, I checked, and this was the best area that I could actually look behind and see that there was nothing back there. So I choose that. I've actually, rode in the boat a number of times since, and I can just reach over and turn it even while I'm driving. It's not a big deal. But it's just, it fits in there perfect. You just want to make sure that you got your little USB port right there. You don't want to get it over too far. So again, that's your 3-inch hole saw, and it just mounts right in and out. It was super easy. I mean, that was probably one of the easier things I did. Another thing, just for reference, the gear shift, I went ahead and there's probably 8 screws or so throughout this whole little encasing. I went ahead and took all those out, because what you can do is once you take those screws out, this will actually pull over just a little bit. I mean, you still got all the wires, so you're not going to be able to it's not like it's going to just come out. But what it will do is it'll shift over just enough that when you run your wires up through here, you can actually run it without getting all caught up into all this stuff. And one thing I like to do with the tape, and again, I'm not an electrician, but I actually ran the tape through first, and just real nice and easy. Just took my time, ran it all the way through. And then once I got it up to where I was going, then I stuck the wire in, and then I taped it off just to make sure it's good and snug. And then I just pulled it back nice and easy. But I did that for everything. So I ran the fish tape first. Once I got it to where I needed to go, I took the wire and ran it from that end and brought it and made it to it. So when I pulled it out, the wire came with it. That seemed to help me. Again, these guys will, these electricians, these guys that do this for a living can probably tell you an easier way, but it's just how I did it and it worked for me. All right, so here, I'm sorry about that. There's where the stereo comes through. You see that little bracket right here? This is what kind of holds it in there. That's holds it in there. I was only able to get one screw on it, but it's plenty snug. I dropped some of the wires down just so you could kind of see how I ran it, but you can see the speaker wire. It runs through there. And that hole right there, that's where I ran my fish tape through to get it to the other side. I ran everything pretty much, all the speaker wires through that side over there. It came up. Sorry, I got my bends out so I could kind of show you. Let me just walk over here. So I pulled everything through. And then what I did was I ran everything straight through there. I'm sorry, I know this is hard, but and again, I've got everything tied up, right? I just wanted you guys to be able to see what I did with them. And then from there, and again, like kind of what I was telling you with my fish tape, I took the fish tape from down there at the rod lockers and worked my way back here, and then I put the wire in, and then I pulled it back to the rod locker. It's just, that way it's just easier, because when you're trying to push wires, sometimes it gets hung up on everything. I'd much rather just run that fish tape through and then put the wires in and then just pull it back as I go to take it out. So it comes up through here. This box came out, and it's just 8 screws or whatever, basically, to get that out. I took that out. That's 3 screws. And then same thing on these lights, right? So 3 lights here. And then again with these connectors, and I hate to keep kind of beating these to death, but this is what I used to connect everything. Again, I just ran all the wires of this and left one open for the power, because I ran the power last. These were the ones I used on the back side. The speakers, I got a video that I'm gonna tag onto this, but when I drilled it in, all you had to do was just cut some of the foam out, but it worked perfect. And if you take that out, I actually brought the power wire again. I'll take this off in just a minute and show you, but when I brought the power wire out, everything ran. I drilled just a small hole right in this corner and ran it down through here, and there's a hole underneath the cooler, and I ran it all the way over here, and I was able to power up this one, as well as that side over there, as well as the speakers. And the speakers, they're gonna come with several different color wires. So basically, if you just want red, what you're gonna do is you're gonna run your power to your black wire on the speaker, and then you're gonna run your ground to whatever color you want your speakers, to be. So if you want them blue, you're gonna run your red wire to the speaker's black wire, and then you're gonna take the ground wire and you're gonna run it to the blue wire, and that'll make them blue. I did mine in red. And so I just ran the ground to the red. Obviously, if you want all the colors, that you know, it's there's some connectors for that, but I just wanted mine red, so I just chose the red and just stuck with that. Okay, so here's a video once I drilled these out. They do fit right here, and that's the front compartment. You can kind of see that right there. Definitely pucker factor was running high there for a few minutes when I got ready to cut those holes, and then once I cut the hole, it was even higher because that foam made it look like it was short. And I just had a big hole in my deck, but actually once you cut that out, it fits in there pretty good. And these are kicker speakers too, and they're pretty tall. They're 2 5/8, I believe, but it will fit in that hole. Definitely have a shop vac handy because it makes a mess. I've already kind of cleaned up a little bit and wiped everything down so you guys could see, but here it is. Here's my here's where I decided to put my stereo right there. And it actually works out well because you can come back here and you can run all your wires, and then you can run basically underneath here, behind this seat, up through here, take that box out right there, and then it helps if you go ahead and take these out too, because you can see down in there. But definitely I've got the wires in there. You can tell from the rock lights, they turned out pretty well. I got 10 of them in here actually. So anyway, I'll go into more detail on that later. So as far as the back ones, I just try to space them out, and it's basically, you know, find something that you can kind of gauge. I was using this anchor mount right here. And I did the same thing on the other side, and then, you know, obviously on this one I just measured in just a little bit, but did the same thing on the other side over there. So but anyway, there you go. All right, so where I put the switch for the lights was right down here next to the fan, the vent fan, and it went in there perfect. I used my Dremel tool just to cut out a little notch for that, and it fit right in. You know, again, you want to go kind of slow just to make sure there's no wires resting up against that, and if you go in too deep you might cut something. But so just be careful with that. I didn't have any problems. They were all a little further in, but I don't want to have you guys take a chance. I took this vent fan out, and I was able to see the wires in there, which helped. So when I ran, a lot of times I would pull the wires from up here where the gear shift is, and then that way I could like reach down there. And so I was constantly taking a little coat hanger and just grabbing them from up here and pulling them down. But that was taking that out helped me. Then I just ran them over here, but it made it a lot easier. All right, so the power for the radio as well as the power for the lights, I ran right here. I think Nitro did a really cool job by putting this up here. This is so much easier than what I've done in the past. But that black box right there, I'm gonna try to pull this back. So if you see those two red wires there at the end, one's for the lights and one's for the radio. And then if you look, where's the ground at? Right there. That's your ground. That's where I ran the ground wires. Really makes it really easy. So anyway, there you go. Okay, now when it comes to hooking these up, so that side over there is going to be on one wire. You're going to have two wires, your positive and your negative. Come over here, you're gonna have a positive and a negative coming off. And so therefore each one of those will need one of these threes, right? Because they're both gonna connect into this one, and then you're gonna have one space open for your power wire. And also your main negative. So you'll need two of these to join the positive and negative into that. Come back here. Same thing, you're gonna have positive, negative coming out. And then you will have positive, negative here. But the difference is you got your speakers up here. So that's three of them. So therefore you're gonna need this four. So you're gonna run the left side, the right side, and the speakers. And then one space will be open for your power wire. And you're gonna have to do that for both positive and negative. So you'll need two of these. This, the negative and positive both came straight up through here, just like I told you. Remember, move this out, run your fish tape down there, pull this wire up through, come all the way up here, pull this off, and just like in that panel, it's where you're gonna hook your positive and your negative for your stereo. All right, now when you go to tighten your lights, it's gonna be just a little bit different from when you tighten your radio. You remember how when we talked about your radio, you're gonna come from here, straight up into here. Well, your lights, they're actually gonna come, your power is gonna come out of here, and it's gonna go down here to your switch. And then there's a white wire from your switch that's gonna go out to the lights. So a little bit different from the radio. The radio is gonna go straight to the power, but the lights, the power is gonna come to the switch first, and then out to the lights. And that's it. All right, guys. That's it. I'm sorry I didn't do this again when I did the original. If you guys need any help, feel free to reach out. It's not that bad. Once you get going, it'll go pretty smooth. So anyway, best of luck, and feel free to reach out if you got any questions. Appreciate it. Thank you.